Hey my YouTube friends, allenpallen here. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. In this video, I'm depressed. Unlike yesterday, I refuse to sit around and let my mental illness get the best of me. So we're gonna try and turn it into something productive. I've actually been tinkering with this video concept for a while. I just never knew that I was gonna be posting it so soon. But after the long battle that was in my head finally subsided, I figured that today would be the perfect day to film this video and kind of lay it all to rest. I'm not even gonna lie, some days it's absolutely terrifying to sit down and film for you guys, and I usually would chalk that up to my anxiety, but after a lot of personal reflection, I think the bigger demon in this picture is myself. And while I do not believe these things are an accurate representation of who I am now, unfortunately there's still a part of me, and I don't really know that I've ever let go. I think a lot of people like to sugarcoat things, and while that's fine and dandy, I think if less people were to sugarcoat things, people that are just people, like myself, we have a past, we've been through some shit, maybe we wouldn't feel like such disgusting pieces of crap if everyone was a little more honest with one another. You don't always have to be right. You don't have to pretend like your shit don't stink. Just be real with each other. And I think that if you're able to be real with other people, you're able to be real with yourself. If you're sitting there always denying the fact that you're, a piece of shit, you're never going to change because you're not going to think you have to change. And I think that's what today is about. Well, I definitely feel like I've grown a lot since most of the stuff I'm going to be sharing with you guys today. I don't think I've ever sat down and been fully transparent about it to anyone. So I figured that today I could kind of express some of the things that have been bothering me for many years. We can talk about it, and then we can lay it all to rest. Because the life that I am living and the life that I am after has nothing to do with the stupid decisions I've made in my past. I've grown a lot since then, but I want my life to be about now and where I'm gonna end up. I really do feel that I have the potential to be something special. I'm just never gonna make it there if I'm dwelling on the past all the time and looking in the mirror, just hating myself. Because that's not the way to live. And I'm done living that way. So let's go. I definitely feel like I've used most of these things as growing experiences, but me being honest with all of you guys today is, I think, the final step I need to just finally close that chapter of my life. I spent so many years being destructive, and I feel like I spent almost equally as many years after that mourning those decisions. And it was bad enough that living that life took so much time for me that I'm literally a fool if I continue to let it eat up more years of my life. I don't want to sit here and pretend I'm happy when I'm not. I just want to be happy. So, if any of the things I say to you guys are shocking, they are things that make you dislike me or view me any differently, I am so sorry. And I'm so sorry to burst your bubble of what you thought I was as a person, but I promise you, every video I've made so far, I've come from the most sincere of places. Everything I've shared with you guys has been genuine and real, and you guys have helped me grow so much. And I know that I've been playing a positive impact on a lot of your guys' life. I just need this video for me, I think. And, well, it is for me. I definitely hope that you guys can take something positive from it as well. I hope this doesn't cause you guys to hate me or dislike me. I hope that after you watch this video, maybe you're even proud of me. Or maybe I can inspire some of you to grow. Or maybe this video, you could share it with someone and that could inspire them to grow. You guys, this world is so fucked up right now. I think that we all just really need to grow. How are we as a world gonna grow if we're all just sitting here miserable, hating the things that we've done or other people have done? I think it's time to finally address those things, make the necessary changes, and move on because there is way too much other stuff to worry about nowadays. It's time for the list. I, allenpallen, am a thief. Even though I can firmly say I no longer consider myself to be a thief, meaning I do no longer actively steal, smash like for that, I think that the fact that I've made these decisions at one point in my life, they always cause me trouble. They always haunt me, I guess you could say. I am one of those people where I will not go to the bathroom at a gas station unless I buy something because I'm afraid that they're gonna think that I stole. I will not go into a Walmart without buying anything. I'm afraid that they too will think I'm stealing. As far as in my personal relations, thankfully this doesn't really happen at work. Just because I am known for my honesty. I'm a very, hardworking, appreciated member of where I work. But if anybody from my past, if I were to be with any of them, the second, they go looking for their wallet or anything like that, I immediately am, hands up, I don't have it, let me help you find it, you need to find it now, because even though you don't, I assume that you think I stole it. People think that stealing something isn't really that big of a deal, stealing an article of makeup from Walgreens. You might think that little things like that are not important, but your theft causes the price that other people pay for items to go up. That money or that item you took from someone personally, the money they might need to replace that might be their food or rent money. Maybe that's a luxury that someone had given them or they saved up their hard-earned money for. Even if they didn't need it, at the end of the day, the point is it's not yours and you have just as much of a right to earn whatever it is that you just stole, because in a perfect world, anybody else who deserves that item is gonna have to work for it. The point is, it's not yours. If it's not yours, don't take it. Do what you need to do to make it yours. And I promise you, it'll be a lot more rewarding. I think that theft in itself is very addictive, and just like a drug, honestly. And it's actually a lifestyle. People like myself, criminals, I guess is where I was getting at. Being a criminal is addictive also, and a lifestyle. But I think that when you start stealing, you just lose appreciation for what things are worth. It makes you lazy because you feel like you can just have and not put in any effort. And generally speaking, it's just not something, it's not good. It's not something you should aspire to be, a thief. And I'm talking petty theft, but then, goes up to crazy, stupid people doing home invasions and stuff like that. No. How would you like it if someone ruined everything that you spent your whole life working towards? That's ridiculous. Before we wrap up this little topic, I'm sure that many of you guys were wondering, who did he steal from? Not that that's really important. I guess, though, to be fully transparent and honest with you guys, the answer to that question is everyone. And that really makes me feel like a piece of shit. But it's the truth. It didn't really matter if it was from a store, somebody in my life who was important to me, or even strangers off the internet. I been there, done that type of thing, you know? You don't need to steal to achieve your dreams. You need to plan them out and set them in action is what you really need to do. Moving on. I know for certain that for each one of these little pinpoints, there is going to be a lot that I am leaving out on accident, just because I'm doing this sporadically. And I think that it's almost like a therapy session. I know we're only on bullet number 1, moving on to bullet number 2, but I'm already starting to feel a little better. I am extremely lazy. Well, I may move like the Flash at work if it wasn't for my animals and recently this whole YouTube thing and the fact that I'm starting my own business right now. I would probably just sit on my couch 95% of the time and do nothing unless I was getting up to grab a charger, possibly pack a bowl, or take a shit. I don't always have ambition to do most things. When it comes to cleaning, I definitely have my slacking moments. So this is actually where I would like to take the opportunity to thank you guys. I know that a lot of these changes are things that I have been able to do like on my own. But here's one of the examples where having you guys has really helped me, because where I might choose to spend my free time doing nothing or being miserable, now, you know, I promised you guys a video, right? I have to go to Walmart, go get supplies, you know, come home, prepare for the video, film the video, edit it, publish it, do the comments and all that stuff. That is literally hours and hours worth of stuff that I probably wouldn't do, or I wouldn't do if I didn't have a YouTube channel. And there's a very strong chance that if I didn't have a YouTube channel, I would probably spend that time, still doing nothing. Or even worse, maybe doing something self-destructive. So I am extremely thankful for you guys. You've been such a motivation for me to like get shit done and show myself that like I don't need to just sit there and be lazy. I can, you know, actually be happy doing things. I could be happy being productive. I could be happy interacting with people. Filming in general has actually taught me that I am important. And I don't deserve to just sit my life around and essentially rot. I definitely thank you guys for all of your encouragement. I know that being a lazy person is something very hard to break. I do believe, however, that with your guys' continued support, I will definitely get to where I need to be. And the thing I love about maybe not being as lazy is you almost feel like you have more energy. It's so crazy to me, the concept of one actually doing more things with their life and then in return feeling more pumped up and energetic as an outcome. It's mind-blowing. It's almost though like a crazy cycle where you guys provide me this energy and feedback and support when I really need it the most, and in return I'm able to take my time that I would otherwise be wasting and transform it into something that a lot of you guys appreciate, and sometimes it inspires you guys. I've heard a lot of you guys say it makes you happy to watch my videos and you enjoy my personality. Some of you've even kind of hinted that I'm a role model. And I love that. I love that a creature as ugly as myself on the inside is able to finally be looked at like they're beautiful on the inside. Moving on. I am an addict. I think it's a lot more than someone being like, oh, a cocaine addict, or oh, a pill addict, or this and that. I think like being an addict in itself is kind of like a trait, so that's why I'm kind of lumping it into one thing. My addiction throughout life, it never really was like about like the drug necessarily. It was more about like being self-destructive, having emotions that you didn't want to deal with. It's definitely a lifestyle, to say the least. It very much ties in hand with all the other traits that I'm talking about. And I'm definitely not going to say that all of that is because I am an addict, or, you know, I'm an addict because of all of that. Well, they do intertwine at, like, in different ways. I don't think that, like, you can necessarily blame one trait on another trait. You can't say the only reason you're a thief is because you're an addict. I think that, you know, that's part of what this video is addressing, is like the not being honest with yourself, or honest in general. So I think it's very important to kind of see the difference. You know, like, just don't call yourself only an addict. Like, you're also all these other things. I think if you only think you're an addict, you're not gonna acknowledge any of the other like behaviors that you're doing or portraying, and so you're never gonna get like the full realization of like what a shitty person you are if you're only just like, oh yeah, I do drugs. You ignore the fact that you're like a thief and a liar, and maybe you killed someone, and who knows what you did with your life, right? But in terms of me being an addict, this trait has been something that I want to say it starts in high school, but I think it's more than that. A lot of my family has addictions, you know, different portions of my family. A lot of that would be like tobacco products, alcohol, and like a couple people with like drugs and stuff like that. And like, I don't really think that just because you're born in an environment with addiction that you're gonna become an addict. And it's really crazy how anyone who is in that environment becomes an addict, just because like firsthand they can see all the negative. I think maybe part of why that happens is because like you hear all these warnings how it'll, you know, change you or ruin your life, or you won't be able to function, and then you see an addict not like flourish, but they're like doing fine. So you think that, you know, maybe you can do the same. Maybe you don't acknowledge all their problems, or maybe they don't, you know, show them all because they're not honest. They don't portray all their problems. So you have this conception that maybe you can do that behavior and be okay. I think also like one's inner voice plays a big role when it comes to addictions. You know, you try something or do something, you're always able to talk to yourself. And I think like people, they feel like that's their inner voice. They feel like that's their personality or their person. And since you're always able to talk to yourself, you feel like you haven't lost track of that person that like you are or you hold on to. But the crazy thing is when you're on the drugs or like substances, or you're doing the shit, you still have that voice, and you're still able to talk to yourself. So you don't realize that you're like all fucked up, or you know, your life is different. You don't realize that. But the truth of the matter is that person or that voice is under the influence of these drugs and the lifestyle and everything else you're doing. So that voice that you're trusting to guide you, it's already tainted. And therefore, the voice in your head is no longer like genuine advice. It's tainted. And you're literally listening to the voice of evil. And all you drug addicts sitting out there thinking like, oh, I'm fine, you know, like I shoot up heroin every day, but I'm fine. The voice in your head is fucked up right now. And really, I pray that you see that someday, and you could kind of get to the place where I'm at, where you're not better yet, but you have a chance. Like you're not 100% better yet, but you're better enough to have a fighting chance, and you're starting to see like success. I pray that everyone has a fair chance to maybe come out of that and see success. And for a lot of people, like, something dramatic might happen and they might get a second chance. But being an addict, it's a personality trait, it's a lifestyle, it's a part of you. So it's never going to be easy. But take it from me, and there's definitely hope. I didn't care what I had to do to get drugs back in my prime, if you will. Whether it be sucking dick or thievery or selling drugs, whatever I had to do to get my little fix, you best believe I was gonna do it. I think living with that whole concept alone has been like one of the hardest things for me, just like looking back at all the things I've done and maybe like not even recognizing that person. It's kind of like, how can I be proud of myself and happy with myself when I can't even like recognize who I am? But what I need to take in consideration is I'm on the positive end of that spectrum. So I need to start like looking at myself for, like the good that I'm doing and the things I'm accomplishing, not like the shitbag, crushing up pills and snorting them and all that nonsense. Like, I'm over that. I'm still an addict, but I'm over that. And addiction is so crazy. It is like the ultimate disease. I see it everywhere. I see it in so many people, and it actually breaks my heart. I would love to do like a different video on like just addiction. I don't know. Let me know down below. Would you guys like to hear a little bit more about that side of me sometime in the future? Maybe do like a little story time thing. I definitely wouldn't be opposed to it, and I'm really enjoying this whole like free talking thing. I know like sometimes when I film I feel like very pressured that everything has to be like so perfect, and I haven't really had like much of a chance to just kind of let go in a while. So this has been like really refreshing. As far as like the being an addict thing goes, I never like did like heroin or anything like that. I did at one point have an addiction to like methadone and Suboxone, like alcohol, like every other pill under the moon, under the sun. I've probably tried it at least a good couple times, but I have not done anything either than like alcohol, and I don't drink anywhere near what I used to. I'm actually to the point where I hardly drink at all anymore, and I'm very like happy with that decision. I feel so much more lively when I'm not half in the bag on all fours. So aside from like the occasional couple drinks thing now, the only thing I do is like nicotine, which I'm working on, and I smoke weed. And I do that because it helps calm my like anxiety and stuff like that. Sure, there's like a pleasure thing associated with it, like I do like it, but at the end of the day, like I don't think it takes away from anything. I don't think it like robs me of inspiration or joy. If anything, maybe it helps me when I don't want to do something as like a little bit of a motivator to do it. And I know that sounds very much like a drug to me. Like, I don't feel like I need the weed. I feel like if anything, it's kind of like enhancement. Spectrum of addictions, it still kind of sounds like a drug. But I'm considering it more of like caffeine, like a lot of people don't need caffeine. They just might help them wake up a little more. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like, sure, everything can be bad if you abuse it, but in the spectrum of addictions and drugs, I view like smoking weed, like having a soda or like maybe nicotine, or you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I don't think the fact that I smoke weed is gonna like cause an avalanche effect and throw me back where I was. I think I can safely do what I'm doing and continue to grow. And as long as it doesn't stop me from growing, I'm comfortable doing it. If it did get in the way of my growth, or if it ever set me back, I definitely would not be opposed to like not doing it. And I mean, I really don't know if I'm gonna do it all my life, but as for right now, I refuse to do like antidepressants or anti-anxiety and stuff like that. So my kind of trade-off is, smoking the weed. I'd much rather take a hit now and then than like be prescribed like Xanax and stuff like that. I actually feel like if I were to be on a prescription medication, that would cause me to like be like reintroduced to drugs. I don't feel like now I would like make that decision, but I wouldn't like the notion of knowing it's always like an option to cave at any time. I'd rather just keep it out of the picture. I don't know if that's a sign of weakness or not. I try really hard not to like miss the things I've lost or regret like all this stuff I've lost, because I know like that's toxic and I'm never gonna move forward if I spend all this time living in regret. But being an addict completely rocked my whole world. It set me back so far. It ruined so much for me. 10 out of 10 would not recommend to a friend. If you do know someone who is an addict or suffering, be there for them if you can. If it interferes with your sobriety, or if it interferes with your quality of life, maybe try to throw them some resources or whatever, but don't ever let them ruin you or your quality of life. But if you're able to help them a little bit without, like interfering with your sobriety or your livelihood, offer them positivity, offer them guidance, offer them, understanding, but try to be like a little firm with it. Not too firm where you're gonna push them away, because no addict likes to hear, the nonsense. They don't like to hear the truth, that, like they're shitty people, but, maybe be more like subtle about it. Instead of maybe telling them every day that they should go to rehab or they're gonna go to jail or something like that, maybe pass on a flyer for an event for like sobriety awareness, or maybe offer to go with them to like a class, like baby steps. Don't just like go up to them and be like, hey, you should be in rehab. Like, go up to them like a normal person. Think what would be like the easiest news to digest, or the easiest tidbit of information to digest, and say to them, hey, I love and appreciate you. I really care about you. If you ever, decide you're ready for change, maybe we could do this. Maybe that's too much at first. Try doing an event with them that has nothing to do with substances or addictions. Like, don't ask them to go to the bar. Maybe ask them to go out for a cup of coffee. And I mean, there's nothing wrong with like treating an addict to like a meal or something of that nature. Well, I do not believe you should just like freely hand them money and like enable them or anything like that. I don't see like anything wrong, going to McDonald's and offering them a meal and, letting them express how they feel and gently maybe nudging your little 2 cents, but don't overwhelm them. I know the second you overwhelm an addict is the second they're gonna run. And if they're gonna make a life-changing decision, there's nothing wrong with letting them know like it would be meaningful to you. But I think it's really important for part of that change to be like from within their own heart, because if they don't have the will to change, I don't necessarily know that they're going to. So I think it's very important for them to like have the desire to start making changes. So, you know, maybe instead of trying to throw out the, hey, you need to make some changes, start laying those tracks, serve as an inspiration, maybe show them why they'd be happier living a different life, and then maybe some of the wires will click and, you know, they'll gain that inspiration to want to change. And then you could lay down the whole, maybe let's attend like a sobriety event, or hey, let's go somewhere for the weekend, try to be sober. I don't know, like, we'll address that in another video, but I thought it was really important to share with you guys that like addiction has played a very big role in my life. And it's very important, I think, to not hide the fact that like you're an addict. I think a lot of people are willing to test the sobriety of an addict, and they almost want you to like fail. But I think it's very important to be honest with everyone around you. That way the people that do care can maybe have your back, maybe help you if you need it still, like be your set of training wheels. I feel like I don't really need that as of right now, but I think it's very important for me to be open about my addiction. I actually kind of like the feeling when people are talking about like a drug or something, and then they remember my testimonies that I've given them about my like sobriety or like my former life as a drug addict, and then they kind of like, they feel like guilty or they shut down a little bit. And I don't like that they feel negative, but I like that I laid down that ground rule where they need to be aware that not everyone's just gonna be okay with that bullshit. Like, not everyone's just gonna tolerate that, and not everyone's just gonna be like, They're gonna realize maybe that there's more to life, or there's more opinions or more options than the mental state they're stuck in. So be positive, be encouraging, don't be hateful towards addicts. I know that we all think that addiction is very common, but just remember that's just like the people who are honest or open or have been caught. Behind closed doors, we all have like our own addictions, you know, like caffeine, chocolate, weight. We all have, it's a spectrum, and I think addiction, you know, can apply to almost anyone in some way, shape, or form. But don't be hurtful and cause people to give into their addictions. Be positive and encouraging, and maybe offer alternative options. I definitely hate how me being an addict has ruined like a lot of the most meaningful relationships in my life. Thankfully, I've been able to salvage some of them, but some of them are long gone. And for some of them, like, the people are no longer alive because I was just an addict for so long, and like I was so ashamed for so long after that. And time just flew by, and here we are. So don't let time slip away from you. Next on the list, this definitely pertains to everything. It's hard to like even call these like items on a list. I think it really just was like a way to open up the door of conversation for me, and like get the creative juices flowing. Next on my list is I only care about myself. This is something that throughout my whole life, you know, I've been like probably selfish and greedy, you know, maybe put my own needs before other people's. I'm definitely like a generous person. I think you can be generous and selfish at the same time. And I know that's like a really weird concept, but you know, like maybe in a relationship, you know, like not giving as much as you're receiving. You know, your friend might need something and you give them $20, but when it comes to like a relationship, family member or significant other, you know, you're just kind of like the leech in that relationship. And I try not to be that way anymore. And I feel like a lot of like my relationships, it's actually kind of like the flip side now. I know sometimes it just like works out that way where like unfortunately you can't provide as much, but like I don't know. I'm definitely working on being making all of my relationships in my life at least 50-50. I don't think I deserve for anyone to give like more than I give back. I don't know, but it's almost like karma. But now I even have like relationships where I feel like I'm being like manipulated and used, and that's just kind of how like the world works. And I think we all should maybe get on the same page for like our relationships that we like value or actually care about, and try to be like at least 50-50, or at least give some sort of a shit. I don't know that this one really needs a whole lot of explanation, to be honest. It's just something I thought I would share with you guys, that like, even though like, yeah, Alan, guy who does the giveaways and creates the content for people, I'm a lot better than I was before. But at the end of the day, like myself, just like a lot of other humans in general, I'm selfish. Like I want what I want when I want it. Living in the fast lane and mine, mine, mine. And I think we all need to sit back and realize we're not the most important thing in the world. Well, we should always put ourselves like first and like try to strive for better. We're not the only like person. We're all like a coexisting, cohesive like unit. And I think it's very important to remember that. And while there's nothing wrong with, striving for better, and there's nothing wrong with like setting goals and accomplishments and like really kicking ass at life, you need to remember that there are a lot more people on this world than just yourself, and you need to offer respect to them, and you need to not be selfish towards them. You need to realize that just because you're doing great, if you're ruining the lives of other people, or if you're not caring about other people, everything that you're doing, no one gives a shit. Like, ooh, cool, you have money. You're still an asshole and a prick, and people are still gonna hate you. So no matter like, putting yourself first might get you a fat check now and again. If you're an asshole, people aren't gonna like you. If you have to not care about other people or potentially even hurt them to gain whatever it is you're after, or if you have to rob somebody of the quality of their own life to get what you're after, I don't really think that you should necessarily be chasing that. My being selfish has caused me a lot of lost times with a lot of people that really mean a lot to me. And unfortunately, that is time that I'll never get back. At the end of the day, my point is, I'm done being a selfish person. The fact that I've tried to become YouTube famous probably contradicts that statement. But I would love for all of you guys to know that at the end of the day, when I create these videos, aside from using this as a resource to grow personally, every video that I make is made with the intentions of bringing joy or happiness to another person's day, maybe to serve as a form of inspiration, or even throw out an idea for something constructive for someone to do in their free time. I know that I've smoked weed on my channel, but a lot of my videos are geared towards doing something creative with your free time, doing something that doesn't involve like putting drugs up your nose or shooting up in an alleyway. I serve to inspire people to do positive things in their free time. And I really hope that message is portrayed. I definitely love hearing all the feedback and knowing that like I'm bringing happiness to you guys. And the fact that I'm like trying to grow my channel, like there's personal gain by like doing something like that. But at the end of the day, I am striving to impact people's lives. And if for some reason any success comes from all of this, I have people in my life that I want to share that with. Like, I don't want to be successful for myself. I have a lot of people like in my life that I owe the world to. and I'm never gonna be able to give them the world if I don't like set the ball in motion. So me creating this YouTube channel, it's to share with all the people that watch the videos, and then if anything more than that were to come out of it, it's like for my family. It's so that I would have more free time to spend with people that matter to me and my animals. And potentially I could involve them in some projects and intertwine meaningful people closer to my life instead of wasting my precious life slaving away at a job that'll never appreciate me. I would love to just make something of myself someday and be self-sufficient and have a business and maybe involve some family member and friends. And I would love to be able to, film videos like 3-4 times a week and incorporate people that are meaningful. In return, inspire you guys and bring happiness to you guys and cause a ripple effect and live by demonstration and show everyone that you can really turn yourself from nothing or from a piece of shit into something beautiful and amazing. But please understand that it is much more than like numbers and like data. You are all people that like I care and appreciate about, and I really enjoy interacting with you guys, and you guys have helped me grow so much, and I love creating for such wonderful people that like actually care that like I'm okay. And it is just really nice being able to share like this side of me that I didn't really know that I had anymore, and I'm able to share it with people who care. And thank you guys. I know that I probably seem really selfish. Just know that I'm trying, and I'm doing a lot better than I used to be. I'm a lot better off than I used to be. I think the fact that I've really cared about mostly myself for so long has caused me to be very ignorant. And I know like a lot of the bridges that were fixed in my life as far as like communication towards people, maybe I wasn't like necessarily the one to always like reach out first. And I know like I've put in effort, I'm getting better and blah blah blah, but that ignorance, has left me not like mending a few relationships in my life. And recently somebody in my family, I can imagine they were maybe feeling kind of similar to how I'm feeling. Maybe like they didn't do all the stuff that I'm saying I've done, but maybe they just like haven't lived a life that they were pleased with or they thought was where they should be currently, or maybe like that one extra struggle broke the camel's back. I can't really say for certain just because I haven't been in this person's life for so long, but recently somebody in the family took her own life. I believe it was a couple weeks ago because she wasn't happy like with herself or her life. I don't feel like I would do the same thing just because I have some people like I wouldn't want to hurt, and I have animals that rely on me, and I try to serve as like a positive role model to everyone. I'm not gonna sit around here and pretend that I would have been like the reason she didn't make this decision, but there's definitely an overwhelming sense of regret inside of me that really wishes I would have apologized to her a long time ago for like the things I've done negatively to her through like my own battles, and maybe I would have extended that apology if she would have potentially received it, been accepting of my apology, which knowing her she probably would have been, because she was such a great person. You know, she let people walk over her and like she would forgive them. So if she would have accepted my apology, provided I made the effort, maybe I could have like been there for her a little bit. Maybe, you know, if I knew that she was hurting so bad, I might have been able to help her, get her mind off of a couple things, or share with her. Like, I also feel like that some days, you know, but here's what I'm doing to like not feel that way, or to feel better, or to like use my time wisely. If we would have been closer, I did kind of backtrack, and I saw that she did have a couple cries out for help on her social media, and I just really hate that I wasn't part of her life anymore to see all that, because I really wish I could have, even if I couldn't have helped, I really wish I could have said goodbye. I remember that as somebody, even though she was very depressed most of the time, she was such an angel. Like, she was one of those people where, like, even though she was upset, like, she could just say something so funny, and it would make like everything better. And I'm just really sorry that I never apologized or got to say goodbye or help you the way that you tried to help me. So I'm really sorry. Moving on. Well, this list seems never ending. Unfortunately, my phone's running out of space. I know that after I edit this, it probably won't seem like it, but I've been filming for a couple hours. Might have took a cry break or two, but we're gonna wrap it up. And we're gonna do one more thing. The last thing that I have on my list, I am a liar. Well, nowadays I pride myself on being very honest, on being a trustworthy person, a good role model, an ear to listen to, somebody who tries to offer positive encouragement. That doesn't change the fact that I'm a liar. I feel like, just like everything else we've been talking about, lying becomes compulsive. And I can remember at one point of my life, half the stuff I would say would probably be a lie, whether it be to cause like an extra laugh, to get some respect, to top a story that someone else was telling. Sometimes I don't even know why I would lie. Like, it would just be stupid, and then like you forget the things you lie about, and then people know you're a liar, or you lie about like things that are actually important. And like, I know like a lie might not seem like that big of a deal, but you have to remember, like, if someone believes your lie, you're literally changing like a whole perception. If you're presenting a false fact, this is a little bit different, but like as far as like the internet, if you're posting a false statistic, you are literally altering the opinion and viewpoints of a lot of people for no reason. And it's not fair that you're manipulating people's viewpoints for your own personal gain. Well, this is something very common in politics. Even as consumers, we have to be careful. We see these things all the time for like 10 out of 10 people recommend, or like small surveys were conducted. When you go to the store and buy shampoo and conditioner, ironically, every single bottle happens to be the #1 shampoo and conditioner in America. But which one is really like the #1, you know? Like each one of those companies is saying they're the #1 shampoo and conditioner, but clearly only one of them can be the #1. Unless you're talking like a different category or something. But I think that we need to be very aware that when we're spreading lies or misconceptions, even accidentally, like when we're spewing out things that we really don't know about, but we're claiming it's the truth or a fact, I think it's very important you realize that the things you're saying, some people might take them seriously or believe them, and just knowing that one fact might change their whole viewpoint on a topic, and that like shift in viewpoint on a topic might change like their viewpoint on another topic. And that's why I feel like it's very important. You should be willing to admit you don't really know what you're talking about if you're not certain, and you shouldn't spread false facts. And more importantly, you should not purposely lie and spread a false fact, because it's more than you just being immoral and lying. You are actually changing someone's like opinion or viewpoints, or you're wasting their time, having them believe this one thing, or you're wasting someone's precious time, something that, unlike money or most other things, you cannot get time back. So it's very selfish and very cruel for you to be intentionally wasting someone else's time. As far as lying goes, though, like I said, I definitely pride myself in being a lot more honest now, especially with like you guys. I think there's like a comfort boundary, that like I don't know some of you in person. Now, like people that know me in person are starting to watch my videos, which is kind of cool, because now like when I film I can envision like all sorts of people, like familiar faces I don't know, people I've interacted with. Like when I look at the camera now, like the longer I make these videos, like I'm starting to see like people, like I still see the camera, but like I'm seeing the bigger picture. And so yeah, like a lot of the people that watch these videos, they know that now, like I'm a very honest person, very open, trying to always be honest for YouTube. I want this to be like a documentation of my life aside from like all the content I'm creating. So I'm trying to be very honest for everyone who watches my videos, so they can see like an adequate build-up of my life, but it's also for myself so I can look back at it as well. My lying has gotten me in all sorts of trouble. It has caused numerous people to not trust me, even in situations where I was being truthful. And I think that's one of the toughest pills to swallow, is where you have lied so many times that now when you're presenting like an accurate fact, people discredit you because you are a liar, or like they're not sure whether they should believe you or not. And that's really hard to absorb sometimes. So I think it's very important for yourself as a person to always be honest with other people, to always be honest with yourself, which is what this whole exercise we're doing today is about. Be honest when you're presenting facts. Be honest in general, guys. Like, there's really no point in lying to someone for them to like you, because at the end of the day, they might like you, but what satisfaction do you really have knowing that they like something that you're not? I would rather have made an honest attempt to put myself out there, get a few rejections, maybe a couple positive feedbacks, and know that those positive feedbacks are genuine, than to put out a pile of deception, get a bunch of fake compliments, and just kind of bask in what really, like, ooh, I got all this feedback. It's all good feedback. Too bad none of it actually matters because I wasn't honest. I am so sorry to the people that my lies have hurt in the past. And I'm so sorry that you haven't always been able to trust me, or maybe you didn't want me to be there for you because I'm not like a good person in the past. I just really want everyone to know I'm trying really hard to be an honest person and live on the straight and narrow, and grow and just be a better person. I have no idea how any of you guys are going to receive any of this information. Not really sure if I'm going to get any hate on it or not. But at the end of the day, I knew this was something that needed to be done, and I thought it would be better to do this near the beginning of my time on YouTube versus just trying to go through like these videos struggling. Alright, you guys, now that I have revealed some of the things that have been weighing heavy on my heart, not just recently, but for literally years, it's time for the point of this whole video. Well, this list of paper will always live with me, both in here and in here. This whole exercise came with a point. I don't need to sit around and stare at a constant reminder of all the bad things that I've done in my life. I need to grow the fuck up, move forward, and get on with the good. I'm really hoping this video came across as nothing but positive vibes, and maybe at some point it will be seen by someone who it makes a difference for. That would be my ultimate goal, even though I've only just filmed this video, haven't even edited it yet, or posted it. I already feel a lot better. I'm not even gonna sit here and pretend I actually had no idea if I was gonna go through with this video, and I'm really happy that I did. I thank you all so much for bearing through my nonsense, and I promise on my next video we'll do something fun. But until then, you guys, I hope you are all staying happy and staying safe. I'll see you on my next video. Bye.